Today I'm going to show you a brand new soundproofing material that most of you have never seen before, and it is absolutely amazing. Now listen, we're going to go open this box right now, because right now the music is playing in this box. We've done box tests with soundproofing before, but this is going to blow your mind. One layer of drywall, one layer of the SONOpan, and one layer of fiberglass pink. It absolutely eats the noise. Now, if you're looking at building a studio or you just want a quiet space to work in your home, this technology in this box right here is for one side of one wall. You can literally just insulate a wall, put a layer of green board and a layer of drywall, and you get this kind of sound control. Check this out. We're down to 15, weren't we? 15 decibels is what it gets down to when we're quiet. That's the same noise rating as you get in an empty room with just the fridge running. Just saying. This is incredible technology. Now we're going to jump in and show you how the installation works and how you can create your own soundproofing system. The wall assembly that I'm making here is a combination of two things. Good construction technology to reduce sound transmission and really exceptional building materials that work together to create the ultimate STC rating that'll just blow your socks off. So we're just going to make an 8-foot wall to demonstrate how the assembly works, and we're going to cut our studs, and I'm going to show you a little trick here for cutting studs. You measure, you mark, you line up the stud underneath, flush at the end. Okay, we're going to use our square as our guide, and once I cut the first stud, I have my saw blade set deep enough that it scores the top of the next one. It's already marked. So all I have to do is set this on my leftover piece on top of another piece of wood over and over and over again, flush. Just keep on cutting that same line. And that will keep the wall nice and flat. Flat is good. All right, here we go. I'm gonna line this up until I'm on my mark. That one is garbage. That's what I want. There we are. It's measured once, cut 7 times. Working off a lumber pile like this is actually really quick. It's a lot more convenient than having to set up a chop saw just to make a few cuts. All right, so we're going to go through the basic building steps here. We've got a few pieces of science we're conjoining into one building product here. First of all, we are going to, instead of having a traditional 2x4 bottom and top plate on our wall, I'm going to go 2x6. I need it extra wide because what we're going to have is a 2x6 here, and then we're going to alternate stud patterns. Okay? Something like this, so that the wood, which is an excellent transmitter of sound, by the way, doesn't continue to the other side of the wall. Okay? By building it alternating like this, we can stop the wood from being part of the problem, all right, and create a solution here. So, if you have an existing wall, grab a 2x4 or buy a 2x2, and you can actually laminate the top and bottom studs, base plates, sorry, of your wall. So here's the base plate, you can laminate it, and then you can do the same thing. You can add another wall, contrary to the existing stud pattern. I recommend building this on 2 foot on center, okay, and that works just fine. Because we're using 5/8 drywall, 2 foot on center is plenty. It's easier to work with, but if you're going to work with an existing wall, you can just leave the one that's there and add a few studs in an alternating pattern every couple of feet, and that works out really well. What we do to mark this is we're just going to put the plates together, all right? And I'm going to mark off the 2 foot mark for the top and the bottom at the same time. Put an X on it, okay? Every 2 feet. And then on the other side, I'm simply going to mark all the odd numbers. We'll mark off at 1 foot. 3, 5, and 7. If I just open them up and start attaching studs on here, I'm not going to be able to see the underside. So what I want to do is I want to take this line and just translate it to the inside. Okay? I'm gonna flip it over. Take the top plate. Now I can see the bottom locations for all those studs, and I'll walk it down here. Now, unfortunately, in order to have good solid corners and have something to screw all the ends to, we have to use 2x6 at both ends of the wall. It's a necessary evil, but like I said, reducing all those interior studs from passing all the way through makes a dramatic difference in how much noise can pass. Now I can screw my wall together. All right, I think it's about there. Yep, we got it. By and large, when you're doing soundproofing projects, there's a few rules you need to follow. One, you want to eliminate air transfer from one room to another. And one of the easiest ways to do that is to not have any electrical in the wall. Unfortunately, building code requires us to have a plug every 10 feet. So you're gonna have to put in a plug, which means you can follow the best practice advice. You can use a putty pad and expansion foam and all those kinds of things to help eliminate the air transfer. And they are generally relatively effective. After that, you also want to have eliminate the amount of material in your building that transfers from one side of the wall to the next, which is why we're staggering our studs. Problem solved. The next thing you want to do is you want to have a variety of material that has different density. And we're going to do that over the next 3 stages. Fourth thing you really want to do is you want to have as many fibers and materials and elements involved in this that are moving in different directions. So if you can think of confusion, and then a nice clean sound wave hits it, it breaks it all up, making it move in all kinds of different directions, okay? And that dissipates it. And effectively, by adding layers of different density and layers of confusion, you can just eliminate the sound wave altogether. So watch the next step here. We're gonna take insulation, and we're just going to weave it in between all of our studs, okay? Now, traditionally with insulation, if you're to do something like this, and because we're going to put a wall, it's going to compress it, everybody would scream, oh, it doesn't work like that. But that's when you're using it for a thermal barrier. In this environment, we're using it as a sound barrier because every little piece of this fiber is part of that confusion that eats the wave. So it's okay if it's compressed. It's all about having it in the wall. Da-da-da-da. So far, you can see that this is not requiring a whole lot of skill. It's pretty basic. Anybody can do this and be successful. Now, there is no real perfect way for this to be done. You're gonna have overlapping joints like I have right here. Okay, and I can't make this material come in contact with each other really happily. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this material to this stud and allow there to be an overlap. The goal here is to fill this void with mass. And I think that's really accomplished well. Okay, now the reason this works so well is because it's fiberglass and it's pliable. You can't do this with rock wool. You can't weave it in and out of the stud bay. Okay? The only thing you could do here with rock wool is you could put a piece in this cavity and a piece in that cavity, but the thickness between this wood and this wood is only 2 inches. So then you're really relying on tearing it all apart and trying to stuff it in there. It's going to be a mess. This works amazing. Okay? Remember, the difference between rock wool and fiberglass on the SCC rating is almost nothing. They perform just as well. It's all about the total assembly and how it performs overall. That's what we're going to get to next, the magic sauce. Big shout out to Andrew, new dad, painted his son's nursery. How cute is that, right? Listen, fellas, don't leave it all the work up to the ladies. Make sure you submit your entries on Instagram and Facebook and share your success stories, okay? Everybody else wants to know, what's the average person doing? Feel free to tell us where you live, what you do for a living. I'd love to hear that you have no experience in the trades and you're pulling these projects off. That would be encouraging for folks to hear. Send us your submissions on Instagram and Facebook. You might be next to be highlighted in our shout out section on our videos. Cheers. Do, 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 do. And here it is, folks. This is the new miracle ingredient. Let me introduce to you SONOpan. This is a rigid fiber board that's designed to absolutely eat sound, okay? And this material is brainchild of some Canadian operation up here. The first time I ever saw this, and it just screws in. The first time I ever saw this was at a trade show. I believe I was in Toronto. And the gentleman representing the company was out there with that demonstration you saw at the intro. So I'm walking through the trade show and I hear Thunderstruck by AC/DC, and I'm like, oh yeah, right on. And then the music stops. And then it started again, and I decided to follow it. And I was 3 blocks away. When I got to his booth, I couldn't hear the music and I didn't know where it was coming from. And then I saw him lift the lid and the music started again. And that's what had me. I was blown away. And I was a believer of this product from day one. The biggest challenge is distribution. So up until recently, it was only available at a couple of local country hardware stores. And not too long ago, Home Depot in Canada started carrying it on the shelves. And I think that's gonna be a game changer. So the reason I'm doing this video is for all of the Canadians out there who can't get a hold of mass-loaded vinyl, which we've been showing people as a great alternative. Now we have a made-in-Canada solution for soundproofing. It's gonna be a game changer. You can see how easy it is to work with. I've been using SONOpan in the marketplace 7 years, right? It's not a mainstream product. Until you get distribution in a major chain, it's almost like you don't exist. Now, I don't think all of our American friends are going to be able to get this down in the States. But if you start going to Home Depot today and say, hey, we want SONOpan on the shelf, that stuff's amazing, I don't think they're going to have a problem setting up the distribution. Here we go, okay? How easy is that? Just screw it to the wall. Huh. Next is the next part of the secret sauce. We're going to add the drywall. And we're almost done soundproofing this wall. That's crazy. One of the best things about this product is you can cut it with the same mineral wool saw that you use for your rock wool. All right. Now, if you're designing your space, remember, floors, walls, ceiling. For best performance, soundproof everything in layers. Okay? Basically what we're doing here is we're doing a 2-layer wall panel system, which is no different than any other commercial wall panel system, because in commercial construction we go 2 layers of 5/8 drywall just for the fire rating. So this is not new, it's not exploratory. You simply install 1 layer and then you install your drywall over top, and you use the 2.5-inch drywall screws to get that done. We'll put that on next. Now the coolest thing about this system, here we are. This only requires 1 layer of drywall to finish. You don't need a 2nd layer of drywall. You don't need any green glue, okay? You can use acoustic sealant at the bottom in the wall joints, any transitions in material. But the density package of that green board plus this 5/8, you are finished. Your construction is done. It's just assembly. If you can't find drywall screws, you can use 2.5-inch deck screws. Now remember what I was talking about. Good soundproofing requires like that confusion of the wave. Here's why this is so effective. From this angle here, I see all the fibers up against the green. Just so you understand, all these little fibers in here, that's actually fiberglass fibers in the gypsum compound in between the paper. Okay, and that's why this board is so dense, so heavy, and why it's so effective against sound, because every one of these little fibers adds to all the confusion of that wave. So now let's talk about turkey, because it's one thing to have a great soundproof wall. It's another thing to know the cost, right? We want to know, is this affordable? So, a traditional soundproofing wall would be regular studs with rock sole insulation, and then 2 layers of drywall of the 5/8, 2 tubes of green glue per sheet of drywall. So it'd be 2 tubes, 4 tubes for one side. Wow. So one wall actually takes 4 sheets of drywall. Let's do this. And then we're 2 tubes, 4 tubes as well, okay, to get one layer. The Roxol is twice as expensive as fiberglass pink. I know you're going to go to the store, people put in the comments all the time, I was at Home Depot the other day and both bags were the same price. Yes, but they put twice as much square feet in the bag of the pink and it's under compression in the bag. Roxol's not. So you get twice the square footage, makes it half the price. Okay, so right there we're saving money on the pink. 4 layers of drywall, you don't need 4 sheets of drywall here. We only need 2. Right there, just saved you another 40 bucks. Okay? And then the green glue is the same cost as the SONOpan. Yeah, the SONOpan's about $30 a sheet. And if you ask me, I'm thinking that works a hell of a lot better than the green glue. Now we did a video not too long ago where we did a couple of different Roxol and fiberglass drywall sound boxes, and we tried them out. And the sound that came out of there was way ridiculous. You could still hear noise. Now traditionally, sound transmission control means in between 2 houses of different owners, like a townhouse, you want STC 50 by code. And that means you can hear them arguing, but you can't make sense of what they're saying. And what fun is that, you know? If they're gonna keep you up, at least you wanna know what the hell's going on. And that's what it works. Now, in residential homes, there's no building code for sound transmission between floors or between rooms. As adults with children, you know you wanna have some sound transmission control. Sometimes between the bathroom and living spaces, sometimes between your room and where your kids are sleeping. This is a great way to do that. You can actually just add the 2x2 on the top and bottom, throw a few more studs, weave some insulation, throw in a layer of SONOpan and a layer of 5/8 on this side of the wall, and you are going to be incredibly surprised how absolutely quiet that transmission is now. Okay? It's more affordable than anything else on the market. Measure and cut. Nothing to it. No rocket science, no brackets, no channels, no taste, no paste, it's just so simple. If you can keep it simple, you can be successful. The more complicated a system, the harder it is to be successful with it. Now this is my favorite. I call it the ultimate for 3 reasons. 1, it's actually a lower cost than the traditional options available. If you want to put insulation and vinyl mass or 2 layers of drywall, whatever combination of all those assemblies, it doesn't work any better than this. This performs better in my opinion. No, this video is not sponsored. This is not a commercial for them. I'm just telling you that there are options on the marketplace, and if you start bothering people in the distribution center down in the south, I'm sure they'll be happy to pick it up and start bringing that product down. As for all the Canadians who've been trying to, where do I get the vinyl mass? It's not the cat's meow. It's not the only solution on the market, okay? Just because I promoted it doesn't mean that it's the best or only option out there. This is a great option for Canadians. The insulation is cheaper. We're saving money. The drywall, we're using less of it. We're saving money and time. The green glue, 0 green glue on this assembly. Don't need it. It's not part of the solution. This green board replaces the green glue plus another layer of drywall, plus, okay? It's that effective. Now, at the end of the day, per square feet, this stuff runs you, right? It's gonna run you probably around $60 to $100 cheaper for every 8 feet of wall. Can't argue that, all right? It's a very affordable solution. Even if you only have access to one side of the wall, you'll be surprised. You get an STC rating, I think up and around the 70 range, just with doing one side of the wall. Just saying, you're gonna love it. Remember the box. Let's go back and we'll finish up over there and we'll talk about a couple of key points you need to consider when you're doing a soundproofing job, because it's not just about the products and the assembly. It's about your approach and the totality to it to make sure that you don't have any air moving. We'll give you a few more key points. We'll see you back at the bench. Now, one of the best benefits of this particular product is you can also use it on the ceiling. So you can put insulation in your ceiling, and then even if you have a bunch of ductwork and stuff like that going into a basement, you can then cover all of that up with the green board, and it installs like drywall, all right? 2 people, regular screws, you can screw it all up and then install your drywall over top, all right? It works absolutely amazing. You can put all the green board on the ceiling, you can put green board on all the walls. Even if it's an exterior wall, use the green board, and I'll tell you why.
sound waves go out, all right? That green board eats the sound, okay? And then if you have it on the ceiling and the walls, and then you do all your drywall, the only thing you have to worry about after that is your selection for your flooring. I always suggest go with carpeting if you're in a room that you want to have super quiet, okay? It's your best option with a really high quality underpad. After that, you only have to worry about air transfer. So make sure you're diligent around your plugs and you use expansion foam from the door jamb to the frame of the wall. And if you're gonna do that other deal with the door, make sure it's a solid core door. Okay, for all these tips and tricks, we have another video. If you like this information, give us a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We love bringing new technology to you and showing you how to make it useful in your own home. All right, there are lots of options out there to help do things better at a lower cost and be practical about solutions. Okay, you can always click the link over here. It's got lots of information there of other soundproofing technologies and other things you might need to incorporate in your system so that you can get exactly the kind of result that you're looking for. Cheers till next time.